So here's a big topic that's been coming up a lot lately with my clients and questions I've been getting privately and also in some groups is boundaries. And the big hot trendy word that's going around is spiritual bypassing, which I do believe, based on what I've been reading and what has been shared, this term spiritual bypassing is being grossly misinterpreted. So when it comes to acceptance and choosing love as a way to accept what is and who is as being who they are, spiritual bypassing is truly defined as using the good vibes only and only choosing to see the positive in things in a way that we deny that there is no bad and that we ignore or avoid negative feelings. We're avoiding the bad feeling, the negative feeling, the uncomfortable feelings. We just get rid of all the toxic people in our lives, the things that we don't believe in, the things or people we don't agree with. We just eliminate and get all of that out of our lives, and we don't associate with and commune with those things. That's spiritual bypassing. And so it's a way of not dealing with. It's a way to bypass dealing with the fact that there is bad shit out there and there's negative things and there's discomfort. And the reason that's bypassing is because growth cannot be done without dealing with the discomfort. That's truly spiritual bypassing. So when you have others out there who are seeing truly that things are the way they are because that is the way it is, and I choose to share my love with that person or in this circumstance, that's not spiritual bypassing. That is choosing to love the situation in order to raise the vibration of it, or raise the vibration of the person, or to give maybe that person something they haven't had, or to see them. So creating boundaries can be difficult. I've had a lot of questions about this. So let's just define bad behavior. Let's look at bad behavior because we can all disagree. And that's okay to disagree. We all have our different experiences based on different lives, different conditions in growing up and ways we've learned and things we've been exposed to. We're all going to have different opinions, and once again, we accept that that's how it is. But let's just make it a broad definition. Poor behavior from another person could be violent, destructive, hateful, abusive, negligent, irresponsible, dishonest, or unaccountable. So if you have someone like this in your life, we do need to have boundaries, whether they are close to you or not so close to you. And maybe we have things going on in the world today that there are groups of people that would fall under many of these categories, and we feel the activist in us wanting to come out and do something about it. We still need boundaries. Even though we may not interact with these groups, we want to raise the vibration of our collective without bringing out the shadow of ourselves that basically match the frequency of what I just listed, correct? So here's one. I can show you, and I don't know if you can see this. There's a triangle here. You got two corners on the bottom and one corner on the top. On the bottom, we've got denial and intolerance. And at the top here, which would be the center, is love. So I'm going to talk first about denial and intolerance. And what I hear and see a lot in relationships with my clients is denial, or too over accepting or excusing. So this is a lot when we are afraid of conflict and we choose to avoid conflict or afraid of change. So we excuse behaviors away and we put trust and faith in that other person is going to change or things are just going to get better. So in the meantime, we excuse things or we accept things as they are, just in hopes that they will change or the person will reach some sort of epiphany or an enlightenment. However, accepting or excusing someone's poor behavior is almost like saying, my expectations of you are pretty damn low. Or, you're incapable of being better because you've had a rough life. Now, just imagine though, if somebody said that to you, you're incapable of being any better right now because you had a rough life, you had a rough go, you were dealt some pretty bad cards, so I just don't expect you to be better. That would suck if someone said that to you. And that is basically what you are saying, probably not out loud or even consciously. By making excuses for somebody, you're putting faith in them changing one day while you excuse away or accept their behaviors and not putting up boundaries. And so in a way, that's pretty cruel. You're not allowing them the space and the boundaries they need to step into their power and their strength and know how capable they truly are. Because until you do, they will never know. On the other side, we have intolerance. Well, that comes from pain and that comes from fear. We don't want the poor behavior. We don't want the destruction, the violence, the hate, the abuse, the negligence, the lying and the, unaccountability. And we don't want that in our lives. We don't want the pain and the hurt that it causes. We don't want that in our communities. We don't want that in our country. We don't want it in the world, right? So a lot of times intolerance comes from anger. When we see it, when we witness it, when we experience it. So we don't tolerate it in our lives or around us. And we don't want to tolerate it in our communities. So when we come from a place of intolerance, we're coming from judgment. Judgment and exclusion of someone's behavior because of their poor behavior is only a reflection of our shadow. Because we're saying, you are not valuable unless you think and act like me. Or you are not deserving of love until you act like blank. Or you must choose love even though I choose not to love you. And until you choose love, then I will love you. So it makes us their equal. And we can't create change by being the equal to what we don't like. So we go to love, which is not spiritual bypassing. To balance ourselves like the teeter-totter, or a seesaw, right? We have to have our arms open to receive and to give and receive, and to stay balanced, right? We need compassion on one side, and we need to provide the influence on the other side. So that means influence is to show them what it's like and how to be that love, and how to be accepting, how to be loving, how to be a good person, how to be, how to grow, how to love, how to care, how to give back to the community, how to be truthful, how to be authentic, share your gifts and your passions and your purpose, and to live in that honestly and truthfully. So, and to be responsible. So we need to show that through influence, but we also need to do that not by judging, but by asking questions. And then we need to have compassion. So we need to know that not everybody lived our lives. And maybe we had bad lives, but maybe it's a different timeline. We learned quicker. Or maybe we didn't learn quicker, but we just learned and they never had the opportunities to learn. So have that compassion. So maybe we can teach by influence. But first, to have compassion, we need to understand. and to understand we need to see them. So that's love. That's being in the middle, and that's not spiritual bypassing. That's just choosing love. I hope this was helpful. And so you can do this in relationships, friendships, family, intimate. And a lot of times with intimate relationships, it means walking away, even if it's for a little while. Because like I said, if they don't like the boundaries you put up, they're never going to know how strong they can be until you do walk away.